Devo Jones with the pick six, Keanu Neal with the hard hit, get the ball back on offense. Watch Julio Jones keep moving the sticks. Calvin Ridley in for the score. We came back, we up 4, about to get in. Our victory stance, no coming back. We closing the door. ATL blackout. ATL blackout. ATL blackout. ATL blackout.
What's going on, football fans? We are back live yet again with another rendition of the Pound for Pound ATL Live. It's me and it's Toby D. And unfortunately, we're talking about another embarrassing loss in week 1 under this coaching staff. But there were some somewhat positive things that you can look at. There were some things that bothered us that shouldn't have been there, in a sense, that looked like they were still carrying over from last year, the early part of last year. But we're going to dive into all that. But before we get into all that, I would be remiss if I didn't say, what's up, Toby D? Man, what's going on with you?
Man, what's going on, JR, man? Hey, it's finally the regular season. We've been clamoring as Falcons fans. Unfortunately, we didn't get the outcome we was hoping to get. But like you said, there were some positives that we can hold on to and hope that they at least carry over into the next game against the Dallas Cowboys.
That's true. I mean, look, it wasn't, it's not all lost in that sense. It's a thing that you kind of somewhat expected to see with not having a preseason, with having such a weird offseason that we had, with adding some of the new pieces that we added, in key positions, the running back position, starting tight end position. We kind of knew our secondary was going to be a little suspect in the sense of the corners. Didn't think they were going to be as suspect as they were. We'll get into that here in a little bit. But the one thing that the chat's already popping off, so we're gonna get into it. But the one thing that I was not happy about, not pleased to see, was the offensive play calling was still just garbage, man. It was still just super predictable, so just damn near vanilla. I hate to say it like that. But, you didn't see hardly any creativity whatsoever. What were some of your just early thoughts on that?
It was stale, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
What I will say is what many of us Falcons fans know by now. You had 3 wide receivers with over 100 yards.
Yeah, we're going
to happened for the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
I will say that.
Well, okay, yeah, like I said, we'll dive deep, and I'm sure all this is going to come back up as we go through the show. But let's just hear right at the top of the show, I'm going to give you the offensive stat lines, right? You had Matt Ryan, 37 for 54 for 450 yards, 2 touchdowns, and interceptions. You had Todd Gurley rush 14 times for 56 yards for an average of 4 yards a rush, and he got a touchdown. You had Julio Jones. This is what you were alluding to a second ago. You had Julio Jones with 157 yards, Calvin Ridley with 130 yards, and Russell Gage with 114 yards. Now, Calvin Ridley stacked up 2 touchdowns in this game. I mean, Calvin Ridley is definitely looking like a force out there. Especially right now paired with Julio Jones. I don't know if I'm so willing to say that Calvin Ridley is ready to take the proverbial torch from Julio, because Julio is still just a beast out there, and he showed it again on Sunday with some of them catches that he made. But Calvin Ridley was definitely showing that, at least early on, that elite talk wasn't unwarranted.
Right.
So, but the part that gets me about all that, 450 yards through the air, 68 yards on the ground. Didn't we not hear, as we always hear all off season, we're going to be committed to the run game? Now, a lot of that has to do with getting down by 16 points, and you got to try to at least, if you give Dirk Cutter any whiff of being able to abandon the run, he's going to. That much is for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah. Now, I will say this, though. He did surprise me by handing the ball off to Todd Gurley 3 straight times during that first drive. What Todd Gurley ripped off, I think, a 15-yarder.
he did.
One of those plays.
He ripped off a 5-yarder, then a 15-yarder.
Todd Gurley looked good early on.
Yeah, but I mean, when you went away from the run, then you pretty much benched him in the second half.
Oh, boy, don't get me started on that. I don't even want to start there yet.
Oh, we ain't getting there yet. Okay, I got you.
Set me again. I want to at least have a show before I get upset again with that.
Okay, so, if we're going to start off with something like, the positives, because, the negatives are going to pile up, especially with a loss, right? We're always going to focus on the negatives when you lose, especially when you lose in the fashion that you lost in. But let's just start with the positives. How about first snap, Takk McKinley gets a sack? I mean, dude looked like he was shot out of a cannon. Now, don't get me wrong, he looked like somebody may have missed their block or whatever, but still, I mean, he looked fast and he looked disruptive all game long. And I think he got something like 5 QB pressures in this game. Something he ain't never done for the Falcons, I don't believe.
And 6 hits on the QB.
Right. So, I mean, if this is the Takk McKinley we're going to get all season and he stays healthy, sign me up for that Takk McKinley. Sign me up for that guy, right? So that's definitely something I was glad to see. I mean, the defensive line as a whole looked real good. Grady Jarrett picking up a sack and a half. Dante Fowler with his half sack and setting the edge real well. I mean, Seattle. Now, granted, we'll get into why they didn't have to, but Seattle ran for a grand total of 45 yards, 44 yards. So we held them 2,000-yard rushers in check.
Yes, that is a huge positive.
So I'll take that. I'll take that all day long. Holding, the defensive line, Grady Jarrett, Tyler Davidson, I even saw Deidre Sanat in the game. For all the people looking for Deidre Sanat, I saw him get in there. I know he got at least 1 tackle and 1 assist. So he was in the game. All that made me feel real good, real positive about at least where the defensive line started the season at. We'll see how, and this is without Marlon Davison. He wasn't playing in this game, and he might be back Dallas. I really don't look for him until maybe the 3rd game. If I had to be, especially with the way the defensive line is playing, if they keep this play up, there's no reason to rush him back, in all honesty.
Yeah. Now, I don't want to get away from that. Giving the Falcons defense shine on slowing that run game down. I we have to give a little highlight to that because last year they got gashed by Dalvin Cook. They got ripped apart, and to come into this game with 2 1,000-yard rushers and had multiple touchdowns because they love to score in the red zone. What you saw Chris Carson do to us twice.
Yep.
To have them be able to slow that run game down, man, that is a huge plus going into that Dallas Cowboy game next week against Elliott.
I think so. I think that defensive line playing the way it has played is a very encouraging so far. Like if I want to hang my hat on anything at this junction in this, one game in, it's the defensive line, look like it was there to do some work and look like it meant some business. Well, dude, the chat is popping off as you would expect 10 minutes in. We got, so let's go ahead and jump into it and get caught up with it. Let's see. Woon Carter says, "What really happened Sunday, family? Please break it down week 1." That's what we're going to try to do, Woon. We're going to try to break this thing down for you. Jamal Regan says, "What's up, fellas? What's going on, Jamal?" Same with Kojak Nantucket. He says, "Rise the F up." Tawan McGee says, "What's good, fellas?" For everybody who said, "What's up, man?" We appreciate y'all being here with us. Kojak was liking our new intro with your ATL Blackout song in it. Y'all can find the full ATL Blackout song on the channel. That was done by our one and only Toby D, flexing his talents that way. So we appreciate being able to roll that out with the new season. You know, we've been kind of holding it for game one as a little treat. So glad you noticed it and glad you liked it. Let's see. Fred Buzz says, "What's up from Milledgeville, Georgia?" What's going on, Fred? Jamil Riggins says, "I still like them Falcons." Man, we still like them Falcons, Jamil. We ain't throwing out the baby with the bathwater just yet, you know. But we were just hoping for a different outcome. That's all. Caden Alvin says, "Every time I try to talk sports with my friends, they say how much Matt Ryan sucks. Do y'all have a good debate besides obvious stats?" Sure. If you want to talk about other than obvious stats, if somebody's not wanting to debate with you and over stats, then there isn't much help about talking to that person. But just bring up his consistency, his durability, his MVP trophy, his the plenty of like other than normal stats. Bring up like comeback wins and stuff like that. That's what I hit them with. If they don't want to talk stats, then they don't watch the game and they're just repeating what talking heads have to say. That's right. That's kind of where I get on that. And in that case, be like, "Yeah, man, Matt Ryan sucks," and move on, because those people don't want to talk football anyway. They just want to repeat what Skip Bayless has to say. So, let's see. Let's get Mike Dub says, "Rise up, fellas, the real four horsemen." Y'all, that Mike Dub, y'all can holler at him. He's on our show on Saturdays with us, and he's been on the live stream with me. So if y'all want to holler at him, he's in chat with us. Kate Alvin says, "Russell Gage is a beast." Russell Gage went off, and he single-handedly shut down the Mohamed Sanu talk. Like, granted, I just saw before we came on live that Sanu signed with the 49ers, so that can shut that talk down all the way around. So, let's see. Ghost Peppers. Oh, man, we ain't seen Ghost Peppers in a long time. What's up, Ghost? He says, "I've been critical on Tack, but I'm willing to give props when props is due. Dude plays like his hair was on fire. Needs to keep up that same effort and consistency, and great things will come." I agree 100%, Ghost. If he plays like this all season and can stay healthy, I got no problem signing him to a long-term deal. Period, point blank. That's just, the guy I saw on Sunday was the guy I thought we drafted in the first round. Yeah. And I don't know how much that has to do with Dante Fowler on the other side actually, pumping him up or what. I have no clue. But if they turn out to be a good 1-2 punch, I hope with this cap season or this, cap stuff coming up, that we can figure out how to keep him. Let's see. So, all right, last one we'll jump on here. I'm going to read 2 from Jordan Daniels. He's throwing out a lot here. It says, "Oliver gets burnt every time he tries to play off the receiver. Sheffield is so much better than Oliver and faster. And the man can freaking hit." So it's going to be interesting. Hopefully Sheffield will come back sooner rather than later, because I'm sure we're going to get into your boy Oliver. I'm going to go ahead and call him your boy, because he ain't my boy.
Don't call him mine.
Let's see. And B Strong says, "Are Dan Quinn and Dirk Cutter really that bad, or is it player execution?" All right, you know what? That's a good jumping off point, B Strong. We're going to go ahead and jump back into our discussion, and let's see here, because I'm going to go ahead and call it. At this junction, I can no longer believe it's the players. I can no longer believe it's player execution. And based on some of the comments that Dirk Cutter said in his interview, I think it was yesterday. Did you hear his comments he made about Jamal Adams? I listened to the interview. Jamal Adams pretty much single-handedly wrecked our offensive game plan by himself.
Yep. In Troy Polamalu style. Yeah. That's exactly how he moved them everywhere.
And I even tweeted out, I said, at some point in time, you think it'd be a good idea to try to block Jamal Adams. Mm-hmm. Or try to figure out where Jamal Adams was at on the field. It damn sure didn't look like anybody was trying to figure out where Jamal Adams was. They were just letting this man run all over the place and just be everywhere. Now, don't get me wrong. Jamal Adams is a good safety. Like, you don't give up 2 first-rounders unless you think you're a next Earl Thomas or next Cam Chancellor. But, my God, I haven't seen a player single-handedly wreck an offensive game plan since maybe Ed Reed in his prime days in Baltimore.
Yeah, Troy Polamalu used to do it all the time, man. They would move him everywhere. He would just wreak havoc all over the place, which is why he's also a Hall of Famer with Ed Reed.
Right.
But
and the fact that you're going to say that, oh, well, that was something we hadn't seen him do before. Okay, well, after the second time of watching him blow a play up, don't you think you would have, started trying to figure out where he was and start chipping him or something? I mean,
see, it seems like they apparently did not add him into the game plan of what they wanted to do. They basically, it's like opening up a Cracker Jack box. You don't know what the prize is in there.
Mm-hmm.
Just wait, it's a mystery, but you see what it is, whether it's a tattoo or whatever the case may be. They treated Jamal Adams just like that. We'll just wait till the game to see what it does, but we're not going to change our game plan. We're going to stick with what we want to do.
Right.
And they did that and got blown up.
Yeah. I mean, to the tune of 8 tackles, 4 assists, and 1 sack.
Oh, don't forget the 2.5 yards for loss.
Yeah.
Tackles for loss.
I mean, that's a man wrecking your game plan.
Yeah.
And you didn't do anything to try to slow him down. You didn't do anything to try to... Okay, this is what it is. I am absolutely tired of other teams dictating what we do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I watched it with Mike Smith, and I've now watched it with Dan Quinn. The only time it seemed like we were able to impose our will was in 2016 with Kyle Shanahan.
Mm-hmm.
And I still, to the point where I feel like, Shanahan was only as good here because of the players that we had, Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, all those guys. They made him, even better. But Shanahan, you can't doubt his creativity. And that's something that you've got to have in this day and age.
Yeah.
In the modern NFL, you have got to have creativity on both sides of the ball. If you don't have it, you are going to get exploited over and over and over again. And you want to talk about exploitation. Let's just take a look at old Russell Wilson's stat line. 31 for 35, 322 yards, and 4 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
The running backs didn't have to run because the secondary was letting everything get completed. There wasn't one pass break. I don't think there was a pass breakup at all. And so
y'all had my kids is on blast over here for whatever reason.
Hey, that's all good.
I'm about to throw a yellow flag at them.
Penalty on the field.
Yes, sir.
But no, I mean, you weren't challenging anything in the secondary. Mm-hmm. I thought that was the whole point of having the big nickel, right? Or having the starting 3 safeties. Because you knew you weren't going to have a whole lot of experience. You have a first rounder who had a goofy offseason with all this COVID stuff, and you had a shaky Isaiah Oliver. So in your mind, that's who you were going into this starting with. So I understood why you had Keanu Neal, DeMonte Casey, and Ricardo Allen penciled in as starters. There's your experience, right? There's how you can help the cornerbacks. But explain to me why Ricardo Allen played less than 40% of the snaps.
I was just about to get to that. And he's wondering the same thing. He don't know either. But he did say he did not like the fact that he didn't play a lot. When Keanu Neal and KZ played pretty much all of the snaps on the field, which according to the stats I saw, Seattle Seahawks only ran 58 plays to our 77.
Yeah, well, you didn't have to, and something we're going to get into in a minute, when you weren't being forced to go the full length of the field.
Mm-hmm.
So let's jump back into chat for a second, and we're going to try to pick up where I left off. Let's see. Charles B says, if I'm not mistaken, the offense didn't have any holding penalties. I don't think they did they? I don't remember. Look, the offensive line gave, I would call, somebody in chat said a C+ effort. I'm going to give them a B. Matt Ryan only got sacked twice. He barely got hit or hurried. Okay? So, coming off of what we had last season, I'm going to call this first game's O-line, I'm going to call it a success. Now, if we can build on this, I'll be even better, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, Jamal Riggins, that's who said. He said O-line did C+ work. I'd lean towards a B maybe. But let's see. Jay Holland says our play calls look so obvious. Yeah.
They were.
I mean, look, the best I can say about Dirk Cutter is he's a professional offensive coordinator. But that doesn't mean he's a good offensive coordinator. I was not thrilled when we brought him back, and I honestly, you're going to be hard pressed. I can't wait till but Dan Quinn gets fired and maybe actually tell somebody that Dirk Cutter wasn't his pick, because you can't have me believe that Dirk Cutter was his choice. I think that was a Thomas Dimitroff, Rich McKay, maybe even Matt Ryan influence. And if that's the case, then I don't want Matt Ryan's influence no more. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's as simple as this, like we always say, oh, well, let Matt Ryan run the ball. Let Matt Ryan look. If Matt Ryan calls the plays or runs the plays that are called for him and doesn't want to, run the offense at the line, if he's not that type of quarterback, then I don't need nor want his opinion in who our offensive coordinator is.
And that's not what Matt Ryan wants anymore. He already told you when Kyle Shanahan came here, he wants somebody who is going to call it and let him do what he do.
That's it.
And just play football.
Right. And so in that case, I don't need nor want his opinion on who the next offensive coordinator is going to be. And yes, I know it's week 1, but I'm going to go ahead and call it the next offensive coordinator, because unless we make a real deep run in the playoffs, I don't see any of this coaching staff coming back. That's just, but we've been saying that all off season, right?
Yeah.
If it takes somebody like a Kyle Shanahan to make Matt Ryan uncomfortable to make him play better, then so be it at this junction. Because I've seen what he can do. I've seen what his decision processing is. You know what I'm saying? He is a good quarterback. He is an elite quarterback. But if he's only as good as his offensive coordinator, which are the vast majority of quarterbacks, I don't care who you are, even Russell Wilson is only as good as his offensive coordinator, then I need a better offensive coordinator.
Yeah, just that disjunction. Who is out there? I mean, you're going to put Ben Steele calling the offense if Dirk keep stinking it up?
Look, at this junction, I'll take Greg Knapp, maybe. Wasn't he a disciple of Kubiak and all them?
You know what? Yeah, he could call the West Coast offense too, because that's what he did.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, give me Greg Knapp. I don't know if it'd be any better, but I don't think it could be any worse. All right, let's go back in here. Let's see. Somebody else. Anonymous says, oh, he said nobody was even looking at Adams. He just blew straight past the mat. Yeah. It's still pissing him off. Anonymous is still pissing me off too. How you not just look? Try to find him. Just look. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm trying to say. Just look. Oh shoot, Jimmy done jumped in from our other co-host, the gentleman who was hosting for us last week on the live stream. So Jimmy done jumped in. He says, "What's up, Pound for Pound family? What's going on, Jimmy?" Man, I can't wait to hear what they got to say this Saturday. I know they're gonna have a good topic. Jamil Riggins says Gurley's knee looked good. Yeah, it looked good. And you know what? I understand maybe backing off the run a little bit because you're trying to get the ball going, but why weren't we trying to work on the screen passes and get that in rhythm?
Yes, that was very off. Check down passes off, swing passes off.
Yep. I mean, look, that makes sense. It's okay. I know they're going to be off. You don't have that rhythm yet. But hell, you're down 16 points at this point in time. Let's go ahead and try to work on it maybe. So instead of getting what I like to call empty yards, it was just crazy to me how we just, like you said, we just completely took him out of the game in the second half of the game.
So does that number one offense going into week 2? Now, after all the games over, because we had over 500 plus yards.
I mean, statistically, sure. But I don't know, because we didn't score a whole bunch of touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have 450 yards in the air, 3 wide receivers with 100 yards apiece and only scoring, 3 touchdowns total?
Yeah, 3 touchdowns.
So now let's get into what I would call some of the early turning points, okay? I think flat out that defensive pass interference by Ricardo Allen was inexcusable. Because, I mean, that was a 41-yard penalty.
Yeah.
You had him 3rd and 23, if I'm not mistaken, at that point in time.
Correct.
And you give him the ball and a fresh set of downs at the 5-yard line? 4-yard?
Mm-hmm.
Or inside the 10 for sure. I mean, that right there, at that junction, you were up, I think we were up 3-0. Is that right? Or was it 7-3 at that?
No,
we were up 3-0. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's just say this. Say you don't give up that pass interference, right? You then force them to punt, and then you flip the field. You keep them from scoring. You potentially go down and score a touchdown of your own, right? Now you're up 10-0. If nothing else, you scored 2 field goals. Now you're up 6-0. That puts pressure on them. Instead, you give up a 41-yard pass interference play and give them a fresh set of downs inside the 10-yard line.
Yep.
I mean, just about any team can score in those conditions. Now, let's talk about another play, another defining play. We're going to talk about the fact that your boy Isaiah Oliver gives up a touchdown on a fly route on what was it? We were 4th and 5. Yep. At that junction of the game, we had tried to convert a handful of 4th down plays of our own. Correct? And we hadn't been able to convert any at that junction. Okay. In Dan Quinn's career, we are 56% fourth down conversion rate. So by that percentage, we should have been able to convert at least 2 of the 4th downs that we tried to convert. We couldn't convert any. And the one that they go to convert, we let them convert a 4th and 5 for a 38-yard touchdown.
Now, what S word does this point to, JR? Situational football.
Right.
That seems like that was the whole issue. But another turning point we didn't talk about was the offense before we got to the defense doing what they did. Matt Ryan with that intentional intentional.
Yeah, that damn intentional grounding.
Had a 2nd and 6 and a loss of down now because of the intentional grounding makes it 3rd and 16.
Yeah.
And that makes you now have to kick a field goal because you can't really do anything else because you got Julio about 11 yards or whatever.
Right.
Just so you can get to the field goal.
Yeah.
That play hurt too, man, because we were driving good. That was the drive that Todd Gurley was running the heck out the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And it just fell flat after that when Matt Ryan did that. Now, I thought somebody was in the area.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was trying to replay that play in my head, and I was like, I think I remember when they threw that flag for intentional grounding, I seem to remember going, oh, that seems like BS. I thought somebody was in the area, whether it was Gurley or somebody, but yeah, I mean, there was a lot of mental mistakes And a lot of, it's like for every good that the defense did with, rushing Russell Wilson, hurrying him up, and stonewalling the running backs, it seemed like every time we got to the fifth, third and long, fourth and long, we just let them convert it. They dropped back, they passed, and they converted it. Now, I understand that A.J. Terrell is a first year player. He's going to take his lumps. We're on what? Season 3 with Isaiah Oliver now?
Mm-hmm.
And he was a second-round pick?
Yes, sir.
We shouldn't be having these issues anymore with Isaiah Oliver.
With the same route.
With the same route. Getting beat the same way. Like,
yeah.
You had to know that when Russell Wilson saw DK Metcalf lined up across from Isaiah Oliver, his eyes had to get this big. Like, oh, we got this. Like, this is easy. Just absolutely frustrating to know that when they try to convert, they convert for a touchdown, and we make the right call with that fake punt, and then we fumble the damn ball.
Oh yeah, in the third quarter, man, because we were down 21-12 at this point, so we keep the ball. It was a great call, but Niesman has to hold on to the doggone football.
Yeah, sure does. Sure does.
And that results in a 28-12 score, which is what the Minnesota Vikings game finished off at, 28-12.
Right. I mean, at least I guess we were able to, work on some passes, I guess. I'm trying to find, some of the more of the silver lining, so to speak, in this game. But boy, it is tough to know that 2 years in a row now, you've been embarrassed into the first game. The game that you've had the most time to prepare for. Yeah. This is the one that you shouldn't look lost, dazed, or confused. And
now I'll tell you what.
No. Go ahead. What you got?
Dan Quinn does survive and can manage to get us in the playoffs. We don't need to be worrying about winning a game opener anymore when you're 2-4 in 6 games.
Yeah.
You are 2-4 in 6 games. And even I think got your team under that mentality that, hey, we don't normally win the first game anyway. And I really hope that's not the case. But you heard Grady Jarrett mention about the fact that they've lost their game openers 3 years straight.
Yeah. Yeah, that starts to become a trait of your football team when you're doing stuff like that. Now, I will say this: if you're like me and you like goofy stats that don't end up meaning much anything, like the team that wears the road jersey tends to win the Super Bowl. But if you like stats like that, Matt Ryan is now 11-2 in home openers. The last time he lost a home opener was in 2016. That was first game of the season against the Bucks. Then they went on the road to the Raiders, and that's what, got everything kicked off. So by no means am I trying to say the season's done, the season's over, ship it off. But the part that is disappointing is it just looks like the same team. And we were expecting new mentality, so to speak, not new looks, but you have different people at the helm in the sense of Raheem Morris being the defensive coordinator, and being in charge, so I was expecting better coverages, if nothing else. So I don't know what happened there.
Now, I'll tell you 2 good highlights by Todd Gurley that we haven't seen in a long time. A running back leaping over the defense for a touchdown.
Oh, yeah.
That's number 1. Number 2, he scanned the field to block up a blitz. And when the guy came toward him, when you come toward a 6'2", 224-pound guy, you saw what he did? He went down to the ground. See, when you got somebody like Freeman out there, you know what that means? A straight bull rush to knock Freeman down because you're not scared of him. It's a totally different mindset when you going up against a 6'2" guy trying to get the Matt Ryan.
Oh, yeah.
He went down to the ground.
Now,
no pause
right. I'll give it to you. When Todd Gurley was in the game, I was impressed and enjoyed seeing him play for our team. I will say this, for all you folks who went out and rushed out and bought a, number 21 Todd Gurley jersey, I really hope y'all keep that thing fresh and mint, because this might be the only year you see him with it on, at least ours, because if he balls out and stays healthy, he's going to command quite a bit of money. But you're right.
Yeah.
That leaping touchdown was something we hadn't seen
since Michael Turner.
Right. Yep.
Because Mike could do it.
Yeah, because Mike had enough power to do it. And that's the thing that I have been clamoring for years now was we needed a more power back, which had me surprised why Quadre Olison was inactive on Sunday. That kind of caught me, off a little bit. I thought out of the 4 running backs, if you had anybody inactive, I figured it might have been Ito Smith, but Ito Smith was active, but I think he only carried the ball one time, I think. I was trying to say.
He got rocked one. I thought it was over for him, boy. He got rocked hard. I was like, oh, shoot, it's over.
I mean, okay, you want to talk about being over. Talk about Russell Gage getting little. I was like, oh, man, no, come on, not already. And I wonder if him getting rocked has anything to do with the rumors of Laquan Treadwell getting signed to the practice squad. I'm just more. Go ahead.
It could be that, or they didn't like what they saw out of their 4th and 5th wide receiver.
Maybe.
And on top of that, now Jimmy mentioned this in one of the him and Mike shows. They had a concern about you didn't have enough big wide receivers to block in the run game, and that's very evident Sunday.
Yeah, I agree. All right, well, let's jump into chat here. Jordan Daniel says Oliver is a 3rd-year player. He has had his chances. He needs to be traded. Yeah, if you can get something for Oliver at this junction, and especially when Sheffield gets healthy and Jordan Miller comes back, I don't expect Oliver to hold. If he keeps playing like this, he'll be benched as soon as Sheffield is up and going. Anonymous said they did great pressuring Russ. They need to play the average coverage and probably would have been a different story. But no, Morris wants to keep running basically the same play all game. Yeah, see, I was really expecting. I saw a lot more creativity out of Raheem Morris at the back end of last year, so it really surprised me that we saw the coverages that we saw. I don't know if it's because Dan Quinn was essentially going to concede this game anyway because of lack of preseason or what. But somebody needs to remind Dan Quinn that all these games count now, and we can't be conceding any.
Even Dan Quinn was saying he wished that the players had to disguise their coverages a little bit more. He put it on the players and not Raheem Morris.
I don't know about that, man.
And I will say this much. Isaiah Oliver, number 1, misjudged the speed of Metcalf. Now, he's not the fastest guy.
Right.
But his speed is deceptional. It's deception. Yeah. And if you don't be careful, he will do exactly what he did to him and AJ Terrell.
Run right past him.
Because, see, if Oliver had to play like a press bell type of technique, he wouldn't have allowed that to happen. But he tried to play him straight up, man, and he got straight up past him, and it was an easy touchdown. It was done. Yeah.
Well, hopefully somebody points that out to him and he can get that stuff fixed. Let's see. Bruce Wayne says Dirk Cutter needs to kick rocks. Yeah. I mean, I'm with it. At this junction, I have seen all I need to see out of Dirk Cutter, which I didn't need to see a repeat to begin with. I've been on record saying that. I didn't need to see a repeat of Dirk Cutter last year. I didn't need to see it this year. And the faster we can move on from Dirk Cutter, the happier I will be. Yeah, because Cindy added Dirk is so predictable. Dirk is very predictable. Let's see. Ghost Pepper, he's talking to Jamil. Kojak says, how long before y'all think Dirk will get fired?
I was about to say something about that. Coach had brought it up, though. I was getting ready to say
Well, okay,
that.
I'm gonna keep scanning these chats. Tell me what your thoughts. How short of a leash is Cutter on?
If we mess around and we go 1-3,
You think he's out?
almost not putting up points like they need
Yeah.
to, because you heard Todd Gurley talk about we're too talented not to be scoring points. See, that's a throwing shade at
Yes.
at Dirk
Yes.
Cutter without saying his name,
Right.
because they are talented.
Yes.
We
There is no
saw
reason.
flashes.
You have the best, and I'll say it not just because I'm a Falcon fan, but you have the best receiver in the game, hands down. Okay? He's better than DeAndre Hopkins. He's better than Michael Thomas. He's better than anybody else you want to trot out there. And then you got Calvin Ridley, who is definitely coming into his own, right? That 1-2 punch right there should scare any defense in the league. And let me ask you this. Outside of 2016, when was the last time you had confidence when our offense was on the field?
I did.
Right. That's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. With the consistency that Matt Ryan plays with, whether you think he's elite or not, you know what I'm saying? With the consistency that he plays with day in, day out, regardless of who his OC is, there is no reason why we aren't just torching people left and right. But yet, I'm sitting here watching the absolute slowest screen pass to Carson, develop into a touchdown, and we throw a screen pass and it's snuffed out in the backfield. It just makes my head spin. It makes my head hurt. Anthony Wright. Hey, Anthony. I'm glad you're here, buddy. Anthony Wright says, Russell Gage needs to stop jumping in the air after catching the ball. I said this last year about him, and I was saying it again, and I said this in 2018. Yeah, he needs to stay on his feet. That much is for sure. That man get hurt. Marwin Johnson says Dirk's calls for trash all game. I cannot. I wonder if people understand how much I don't like Dirk Cutter. I mean, when I know for a fact had the Denver Broncos let us interview Gary Kubiak instead of blocking us, he would have been our offensive coordinator. Flat out. Flat out. And now look, not like the Vikings fared much better with Kubiak as the OC, but he would have been our OC, flat out. That's who Quinn wanted. And when Denver blocked us from interviewing Kubiak, I think that's when, either Rich McKay, Thomas Dimitroff, or Matt Ryan, or whoever threw out Dirk Cutter's name. Because let me ask you this. I may not always talk highly of Dan Quinn, but how is it that you a head coach and your whole tenure you have beat this man almost every time? All but I think once. So you know this man's offense. You know that you can shut this man's offense down completely. Why are you going to hire him? Why would you hire him? That right there leads me to believe that it wasn't a Dan Quinn hire. And let's see. David M says, would I'm assuming Deion Jones, be better on the weak side? No, I think Deion Jones is a good middle linebacker for our scheme. I know sometimes he gets, ragged a little bit because he's undersized or whatever. But the type of read and react defense we play, you need a fast sideline to sideline, smart middle linebacker. And that's what Deion Jones is. I've got no problem with Deion Jones. He showed it blowing up a handful of those screen passes, cutting through traffic and blowing them up. So, I got no problem there. Anthony Wright says it was John Elway who blocked us. Yeah, exactly. Sydney says Dallas got a better defensive front than the Seahawks, so I hope Matt Ryan doesn't get hurt. I don't know. Do they have a better defensive line? I mean, much better.
Much better defensive line. Yeah, and they lost Gerald McCoy.
I know they lost Gerald McCoy for the season, and
Dante and Lawrence over there. Marcus Lawrence over.
Okay.
And now Austin Smith is over there, and they got something to work with.
Okay.
And didn't put it together much last week, and they're going to have a weakness in their LB group.
Yeah, because they lost
that'll be
Vander Esch. And
Yes.
and also, come on, they're also being, we talk about coaching or whatever. They're being coached by Mike Nolan. So
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
not much concern there in that aspect. B Strong says Darren Bevel would have been a good offensive coordinator for the Falcons. Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's taken Schottenheimer a couple years in Seattle to get going. So where is Bevel now? Is he up in Buffalo?
I want to say he is.
I don't know. I could be completely wrong on that. But anyway, no, I mean,
I wanna say-
I wouldn't mind Darrell Bevel, I guess. I mean, I didn't know much about him. I thought all I know is a lot of people complained about him when he was in Seattle. That's about all I know about Darren Bevel. So
yeah, they've been to 2 Super Bowls,
right,
albeit the defense, but they still did their part,
right.
except for that one call.
Yeah, that one call. That's all it takes, right?
We talking Seattle Seahawks.
Members only says 500 yards when it didn't matter. Yeah, that's going to give us everything underneath. Just don't let us score. Right. I mean, that's why the thumbnail is what it is. You can call it garbage yards, you can call it empty yards, whatever. You were trying to climb back in the game, but you shouldn't have let yourself get dug that deep to begin with. Down that.
It seems like they know how to throw for 400 plus yards against Seattle Seahawks, but they still get the same result.
Yeah,
they lose.
Exactly.
Schaub last year and threw for over 400 some yards.
Right.
And you had fans talking about Matt Schaub should be the starter after that game.
Right. Yeah, I remember that nonsense. Boy, I will tell you this, there's going to be a group of fans who aren't truly going to understand what we have in Matt Ryan until he's gone. I'll say that right now. I say it all the time, and I'll keep saying it. They want a certain type of quarterback and ain't going to be happy till they get it, which is fine. It's whatever. You want what you want. And I just wish people would appreciate what we have while we have it. Because Matt Ryan has done something for this organization that no QB has ever done. He has put together more consistency than any QB that's ever played for this organization. All right, let's see. Dre Jungle says, outside of the hiccups, we about to be a problem. Look, if we get it figured out, if we get the secondary figured out, and we force people to throw and we start getting that secondary figured out, yeah, our defense will be a problem. I mean, I hate that we looked as bad as we did out the gate, but like we started off the show with, there is plenty of things to be excited about. Let's see here. Sound Doctrine Ministries says, look, man, I'm just playing around. Okay, he must be talking about something else. He says, y'all DBs fixing to be exposed by CD Lamb. Shoot, we ain't got to be exposed by the CD Lamb. We're exposed by DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Let's see. DK Metcalf, 4 catches for 95 yards. Tyler Lockett, 8 catches for 92 yards.
Hey, at least we kept them under 100 yards.
That's only because they didn't have to go so far, because many times we failed on converting on 4th downs and giving them short fields. They'd have had more if they'd have had to work the whole length of the field every time. Let's see. Bruce Wayne says, at Toby, do you guys think AJ should travel with the wide receiver? Not yet, I don't think. I mean, this is his first game. If he shows to be, an exceptional corner, then sure. But, in the scheme that I thought we were playing, more 2 high safeties, you don't really travel your cornerbacks because the safeties roll to where they're needed. But that was not the look we saw. I saw more. What's up?
More single high. I was shocked about
Me
that,
and you
man.
both. I mean,
because they excelled when they ran that 2 high last year.
I thought that, man, I swear I thought that's what we were going to be coming in with. Was more 2 high safety looks and, using Keanu Neal as more of a linebacker, or covering tight ends or what have you. I was not expecting the amount of single high safety that we saw. J-Dog says, what's good, Dirty Bird Nation? What's going on, J-Dog? Glad you decided to stop in with us. Marcus Bell says, I think the Falcons should stop running the 3 safety look. What do you guys think? I will say they need to back off on the single high safety look. I would be much more inclined to play more of a traditional Tampa 2, which is I thought what we were going to be getting, which we didn't get much. Now, that may have been a design by what the Seahawks were rolling out. I mean, I think Dan Quinn said something about 2 tight end looks. I didn't think they played 2 tight end looks all that much, but that was his excuse why Ricardo Allen wasn't on the field as much. So we'll see. Uzi Leak says, I am sick and tired of seeing fair catches. I think he's talking about it in the return game. Your buddy
Dominique Franks.
Yeah, exactly. Dominique Franks, Eric Weems. How many of these like fair catch guys are we gonna have back there?
Just don't mess it up. That's all they want.
That's what it seems like.
Don't mess.
They'll let you try on a kickoff, but don't mess up a punt. Let's see. Members only says, and our nickel didn't play as advertised. Not yet. It hasn't. Hopefully they'll start getting their stuff together as far as Bruce Wayne says Ricardo looked like aged cheese. Out there, dang, calling this man moldy cheese. I didn't think he looked well. Okay, look, that pass interference was bad. Okay. I don't know if it was moldy cheese bad, but it was bad. He's talking about looking like some Lindbergh out there. Michael Scott says it's just the first game, fellas. I know, Michael. I've been trying to tell myself that since Sunday. It is just the first game. But didn't we say that last year? It's just the first game. It's just the first game. Didn't we say that the year before? It's just the first game. It's just the first game. But at some point in time, I guess, as I've always said, I'm not nearly upset that we lost. I'm more upset how we lost. And we lost the same way we lost the first half of last season. The stuff that we just knew that we had put behind us. We had been telling ourselves all off season that, well, the first half of last season, that was just bad something. And we got it behind us, and now we're moving on, and we're going to be better. Well,
and see, this is in the players' minds. Because you heard Fourier said that he felt like they was leaning toward that first half of the season type play too. But he made the excuse about no preseason, so they couldn't clean a lot of that stuff up that showed up in this game. So let's see if they clean it up game 2. Because if this continues, they're not going to fight for Dan again.
No. Let me ask you a question. Did the Seahawks have a preseason game that we didn't know about? No. So they didn't have a preseason game either. Is that what you're telling me?
What you saying? Okay.
So they didn't look like they needed a preseason game.
No, they had the Falcons.
Yeah, right. They had the Falcons. And then, all them Cowboy fans, they're all sad because they lost. That's all right. Y'all got the Falcons. Y'all got to get right, game.
Real good about this week. Oh, guys, we're going to get on. We're going to get back on point this week.
All right, Ghost Pepper asks, all right, Toby and JR, whose idea you think it was to bring back Dirk Cutter? Upper management? Matt Ryan? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know whose idea it was. It wasn't my idea. They damn sure didn't ask me. They didn't come knock on my door and say, hey, JR, who you think we should bring back Dirk Cutter? Because if they would have gotten the words bring back Dur out of their mouth, I'd have been like, no, don't bring him back.
Shut your mouth.
Shut your mouth. Don't bring that man back in here. He hurt my feelings. It's 2020. I'm offended by him. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's just like he does nothing. He adds nothing to the game. He doesn't make a defense think. He doesn't make a defense question what you're doing. He expects his guys to line up and beat their guys across from him. And that's fine. Yep. You got guys that are going to do that. Julio Jones is going to win his matchup 8 times out of 10. Calvin Ridley is going to win his matchup 9, 10 times out of 10. And Russell Gage is going to be on the nickelback or the third cornerback or the linebacker, and he's going to beat that guy 9 times out of 10. I mean, you see it to the tune of 450 yards. I get it. They're going to beat their guys. But when you get down to the red zone or when you get down to where it counts and they know what you're fixing to do, they're going to have a good chance of stopping you. Flat out.
Yeah.
Flat out.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to have a real good chance of stopping you. There was nothing that Dirk Cutter showed in Tampa Bay that had me wanting to bring him back. And I know what y'all sitting here thinking, JR, you sure are going off on Dirk Cutter. Dirk Cutter didn't give up 38 points. You're right. Dirk Cutter didn't give up 38 points.
Wait, hold on.
Dirk Cutter's.
Hold on.
Dirk Cutter's.
Stop right
Yeah,
there.
what's up?
Stop right there.
What you got?
Dirk Cutter did have something to do with giving up 38 points, and I'm going to tell you why.
All right.
You have a 3 and out, forcing your defense had to get their behind back on the field. Okay, 2 of them touchdowns resulted in the 3 and outs by this offense of Dirk Cutters and forcing that defense to get back on the field and cause 2 touchdowns when they tired. So, yes, he does get blamed for those 38 points, too.
He does get blamed for not converting any of those 4th downs. You didn't convert a single 4th down. You went for 4 of them. Didn't convert a damn one. Yes, that's on you. You're getting your defense gassed. Period. They can't stop nobody on a short field. I mean, it is what it is. That's all there is to it. Let's finish up some chat. We're bumping up on an hour, so I'm gonna try to rapid fire some of this stuff here. Anthony Wright says, we're going to go on a winning streak starting Sunday. Let's hope so, buddy. You know? Anthony Diggs says, preach. I guess we had to step off my soapbox here. Hold on, let me get off my soapbox. All right. David M says, 0-2, what's happening, guys? I am not a fire to coach guy. I am a fire to coach guy. This junction I am. Brandon Bookstand says, honestly, I think this game came down to 5 plays. The Falcons failed to convert on all 4 4th down attempts, including a fumble, while the Seahawks converted on their lone 4th down attempt, which was a touchdown. Exactly. That's the point I was making a second ago. Bruce Wayne, he's talking to somebody else. Let's see, where was I at? Members only says Dirk Cutter is just calling Shanahan's old plays, but doesn't know what he's doing. Yeah, you can hand somebody a recipe. Okay, I always use this analogy. You know what separates the difference between a cook and a chef? A chef can follow a recipe. No, excuse me. A cook can follow a recipe. A chef creates a recipe. Mm-hmm. That's the difference. Flat out. I'm a great cook. I'm not a good chef. You can hand me a recipe and I'll cook you anything you want. Y'all see my tweets on, game day sometimes or whatever when I'm throwing out my pictures of what I'm doing, but I'm not a chef. I can't just create, not a lot of times. So, let's see. It says, Bruce Wayne says, Dirk Cutter is a 5-year-old with a loaded gun, just waiting for you. You know what I mean? Wow. That's bad. That's bad.
Y'all coming up with stuff tonight.
Ghost Pepper says, I wish we had a punt returner, kick returner like Dante Hall. Honestly, in that aspect, I wish we'd have kept Kenyon Barner. At least he gave you some excitement. Uncle Javon says, been saying that. I'm not exactly sure what he's saying, but CDX for life says, dude fumbled and weak QB play. Yep. A dumb, dude fumble on that punt. That was the right call, to go for it on that punt, but you got to secure it. All right, last few here. Anthony Wright says, on those 4th downs, gentlemen, the Falcons need to just get the yardage needed instead of going for broke. Yeah, I mean, they're counting on them trying to sell out to stop it right here and trying to go over their heads. That's what they're doing. It just didn't work. J-Dog says, can't wait to see Marlon come back from the squad. Yeah, I'd love to see him. I can't wait to see him on that line. CDX for Life says, online played better D-line was better. Let's see this week. Exactly. There were good things to be had. It was just some of the same old stuff that drives you crazy. C. Glenn says, thoughts on Gurley. Gurley looked good. I hate that they felt the need to pull him out in the second half, but from what I saw, Gurley looks like a running back we haven't had since Michael Turner. He looks like a guy who can do it all for us, which is great. Filthy Mill says Dirk needs to get Ito involved in the passing game, running backs in general. I agree. He forgets about him in that aspect. He just absolutely forgets. All right. Well, we have now bumped over an hour. Passions run deep, sir. But as always, we appreciate y'all joining us. We hope y'all catch our guys Jimmy and Mike on Saturdays. Their show generally drops about 7 o'clock Saturday evenings. They'll be giving you a preview for the upcoming Cowboys game, and giving you thoughts, their thoughts as well on the Sunday game. As far as our thoughts on the Cowboys game, we just need to focus on us, get our secondary playing better, and I think stuff like that will start to come in line. As always, you can follow me on Twitter. I am Grim1128, GRIMM1128, WD.
WD 1991.
Yeah, you can check out any show you missed, whether it was a live show, Saturday show, everything's on the YouTube. If you decide you like the pound for pound merchandise, we have a new link down below if you decide you want some. If you don't, no big deal. We just appreciate y'all watching us every week and joining us and giving us your thoughts. But as always, Falcons fans, rise up.
Right.